Hi everyone. I've been sitting here playing, making some more tapes. Just trying to really go through a lot of my scraps and things that I like, that I want to use, and go ahead and get adhesive on the back of them. So I just wanted to show you what I was doing. Not long ago I made some little tapes using some tracing paper and just doodled on them. And so I wanted to show you a couple of other things I did. These are the same thing. This is tracing paper, and I stamped on it. So that's just another idea of something that you can do to create on tracing paper. And so that was fun and something that I hadn't done yet. So I wanted to try that out. Something that's similar to the tracing paper is deli paper. So just, painted papers. These two pieces right here were actually, I know these are kind of hard for you to see. Let me grab something here. So these two pieces of tape were actually from like waste paper. You know how you lay down a piece of deli paper and then you scrape paint or whatever. And these two are from these papers. And it's so amazing how, we've talked before about when you take a little tiny piece of something, it always looks so cool and so different from when you're looking at the whole messy, mishmash of stuff on a paper this size. So I just wanted to show you, it's so much fun to be able to make little tapes out of some of this stuff. So this is all from deli paper. These two are from the same paper. And this one was a little dendritic print that I made a long time ago. And all I'm doing is putting the double-sided tapes on the back. I'm not doing anything other than that. These are all gift wraps. They don't have to be new pieces of gift wrap. You can do this with some that has been used. Like you can probably see there's wrinkles and folds in this. And this one the same way, wrinkles and folds. And I just do the exact same thing for these. Once you get the tape on them and trim them out, and then you stick them down onto something, all those wrinkles disappear pretty much. Now the gift wrap, because it's thinner, when it crinkles, sometimes it will leave a little bit of a white mark like this one. The bend, where the bend was, it left some white area there where the color came off, but I don't care about that. I don't think you care about that either. This is just for fun, like mixed media type stuff, right? So I'm going to trim this one out and show you. All I do is put the tape on the back side and then just trim it out to the size of the tape. And I wanted to give you a little bit of a tip too. It's helpful with the thinner papers like deli paper, tracing paper, gift wrap, some of these really thin things. It's best if you leave a little bit of an edge of your paper so that you have a place to grip to peel off that backing. So that's just a little tip from me to you. Look at all the pretty little gift wraps. You can make tapes and have them ready to go. Like when you sit down to create and you bring out a little box full of tapes, you've got all kind of colors, you've got all kinds of sizes, depending on what size tapes you use. So this is from this same paper here. And I'll probably do like a piece that goes across all of this so you get all of the variation of color, which I think will look pretty cute too. So, all right, those are the gift wraps. And then the next one is tissue papers. So just any random little pieces of tissue papers you have left over from projects, they make great tapes. This tissue had text on it. I thought that would be fun to have some, little faux washi tapes made out of the tissue papers. And I especially like the ones with the text. Okay, now these are napkins. So you can do the exact same thing with napkins, little leftover bits. And I wanted to show you a couple of the leftovers that I had here. They're so pretty. So this is just a remaining piece of a napkin. It's a floral napkin, and it had this purple colored border. Okay, just like that one. And all I do is lay the tapes on there and then just cut them out. And it's just so neat. I think it's going to be real handy to have some just made up. So on days when I'm not feeling particularly creative or I don't want to work on a particular project, I can just sit and stick down some tapes to some napkins or other papers. And look at this one. This is just the tiny little piece left over of the floral pattern that was on this one. You can use that little bit in something somewhere. That will come in handy. Pretty little piece of floral tape. Oh, and here's another one too. This one was pretty cool. Just a random leftover piece of napkin. And it's got this pretty pattern that's going to look gorgeous. Now the next one is painted papers. So I've got just different painted papers. I think this was on a piece of newspaper, and I had been just putting leftover paint all over it, and so I ended up liking it, and so I saved it. And this one is a stenciled paper. Let's see, another just a painty bit, and I left the rough edge on this one because I thought, you know, sometimes when we are creating, we like that torn edge. And so I put 2 pieces of tape on here, a 1/2 inch and a 1/4 inch. And that little tiny edge there, I just left it. And then I can decide if I want to, you know, when I get ready to use it, do I want the torn edge or not? And if not, then I'll just cut that off. And I can use this as one whole piece, or I can use it as 2 pieces. And then these were some really colorful painted papers I had made one day, and these were the leftover bits, and so I just made a bunch of tapes. And I think I must have used like paper from a spiral bound book, what this looks like, maybe mixed media paper. And so I thought, well, I'm going to put the tape along the edges, on the solid edge, and I'll still be able to keep this edge with the holes on it to use for something else. But I've got those taped up and ready to be trimmed out, so I think they're going to be fun. Nice and colorful. Okay, and then these are from tissue boxes. So all of your pretty patterned tissue boxes make great washi tape. And what I do is, and I know you've seen me do this before, but what I do is I peel the uppermost, the patterned layer, I peel it off of the cardboard. Toss that. And then it's much thinner and easier to use, and it's not as thick. I mean, sometimes you may not mind having a thicker piece of something you're attaching. You may want the texture, but for the most part, I like to keep my things for collage. I like to keep them a little bit thinner. So this is the way I tear that off. I make it a thinner layer, and then I add my tape to the back and make tape out of it. Okay, and then I had some other ideas too. Maps are wonderful. These already have the tape on them. They're wonderful for being able to add something cool in your journals or on your project, and when they already are made into tape, they're even that much more fun. Scrapbook paper. This is a piece of scrapbook paper that I had punched. And so I went ahead and ran a 1/4 inch piece of tape along the edge of that. Let's see, what else? All right, what about this? Here's a bag. You guys may have some laying around. This one's already been used. It's been folded and everything. Doesn't matter. I'm going to use it anyway. So all I do for something like this is just trim off the outside edges. So just trim it out. I mean, really tiny. You can see how tiny that is. Just trim it off, and then you can open it up and put the tape on the back. Okay. There we go. So then you have a sheet with the pattern on it. lay your tapes on there and cut them out. They'll be gorgeous. They'll be absolutely gorgeous. So I got that laid aside to do some of those. You've heard me talk about using my Panera bags, right? And so I already have a little piece of tape on each one of these so you can see how cute these are. I just love these grid patterns on their bags. I think it's really cool and I love using it. And I will continue to be using these, I'm sure. Okay, so there's a brown one. And then the white one. Isn't that neat? I mean, these are going to be just the cutest little bits on something. Okay, another thing is magazines have great patterns and colors that you can use for tapes. I could put a piece of tape right across here and have beautiful floral and greenery piece of tape. That would be awesome. And same thing in any of these areas, really. This one is a nail advertisement, and look at the beautiful colors. Oh my goodness. It'll make gorgeous tapes. There's reds and purples at the top, and greens and blues, and reds and pinks at the bottom. I love that. So I just wanted to give you guys some ideas of using them. This was another nail ad, and it had little dollops of the nail polish along the edge of the page. So I put tape on it. Because why not, right? It's too fun. And then this is really pretty. This is from a salad. And it's just beautiful color, you know? It's just awesome. So that's fun. I was going to do one, too, while I'm sitting here. Look how beautiful this is. I'm going to use, like, this big section of it at some point, I'm sure. But I thought, you know, this right here is kind of in the way, this little wordy bit. And so I thought maybe I could use, you know, this edge. And so what I'm going to do is fold it right along, right next to where that green circle is. I'm folding it. Okay, and that will give me an edge. And just going to lay it right next to the crease that I made. It's oftentimes easier, I've noticed, to go ahead and cut or tear off a piece of tape that's the size you want, because it's hard to deal with when you leave it on the roll like this, but I didn't think quick enough that time. So that's why I did it that way. But it is easier if you go ahead and cut a piece of tape. It's so much easier to handle, you know. Isn't that great? That's going to be so pretty. A nice little vertical tape. That's going to be really pretty on something. Let's see if I can hold it up for you. Look how gorgeous. Oh my goodness, that is so pretty. So that's fun, using some magazine pages. Okay, you can also use catalog pages. Like, you ever get these decorator magazines and they've got all these pretty rugs in them? All of these would make really cute tapes. And your tapes don't all have to be this long. You know, they can be little small bits. We all work in small journals and make small little collage bits and things. So any of these small images will be perfect for making tapes from. And then you know how we've all already used this type of image from a catalog, and we made borders. Remember, way back in 2016, we made our first morsels, and we made some cute little borders. Well, this is really cool, too, to make a tape from. And so I'm going to show you what it looks like. I'm excited about this because I love all the colors. Okay. Look how pretty. This one kind of looks like a magazine, too. But you know what? It came off of a junk mail envelope. Really watch those, guys, because there's all kind of cool, colorful things that you may not ever decide you want to use the whole of. But a piece of it looks really cool. So this did come off of an envelope. And I made a piece of tape out of a piece of that. And speaking of envelopes, don't forget about these. your security envelopes. They have great patterns. We've been using them for a while now in junk journals and all sorts of things. But look at the pretty tapes they make. Isn't that awesome? So these are all just reminders for you guys about stuff we have that we can be using, and maybe you haven't used them in this way. I don't know, but I wanted to just share with you. Here's a cool little piece of tape, and I want to show you what I made this from. Of course, it came off of this envelope you just saw in that little stack there. But oftentimes, the little flap on the back of the envelope, look at the back of that. There's just enough, just enough. So, I mean, if you're really careful, you can get a piece of tape on there and cover that entire area and make a little piece of tape with it. I made it out of this other half of it. So if you've been tossing this aside thinking, oh, that's so tiny, I'll probably never use it, well, you just might. Even if you just took that off and cut a strip, you could use it in something. And that's another thing too. You don't have to use double-sided tapes for any of this stuff. The tape just makes it very convenient, okay? You can always cut these out or cut some strips and just save them and then just glue them down when you need them. There's nothing wrong with that at all. So don't think you have to have the double-sided tape, but it does make it very convenient because they already have the adhesive on them and they're all ready to go when you need them. And that's the reason I like to put the tape on them from time to time. I found a couple more of the painted paper ones that I had done. These were just some stamping I had been doing on a piece of book text. And so I cut these three little tapes out of that. I thought that was really cool. This widest one is a 1-inch tape, and the rest just kind of go down 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, so on. So that's those. And I did make the ones from the little bag that I cut apart a few minutes ago. You guys might remember a few years ago, I made some tapes with brown paper bag. Well, this is the same kind of thing. Tape on the back, really thin brown paper. And this is some doodling I did that's just some little white flowers on the brown paper and some dots. And I was looking at it and I thought how cool that looked, but I felt like it needed something more. So I added some black dots to the centers of the flowers, and look how cool that contrast is. It's so different from the other end. So I will probably go ahead and add black dots to the rest of these because I just really like that contrast of the black and white. Just making a little dot in there. Okay. I just love it. I think that'll be so cute on something. Junk journal, collage page, any kind of fun little thing like that. So I thought I'd go ahead and make another one, maybe a little strip, little skinny strip. This one is 1/4 inch wide. And I think I'm going to just make some white stripes. Sometimes I find that when I'm writing with a Posca pen on the brown paper, it wants to soak in real quickly to the page and then it's not as vibrant. So what I did for this particular piece is I coated it. After I put the tape on the back, I coated it in that clear gesso. And I think it really helps. I actually did that on this one too. Put the clear gesso on. And when it's dry, it has a really nice surface, and then it won't allow the liquid from the pen to soak into the paper. So I think that's pretty cool. And I like that it looks handmade. Just little white stripes on the brown. Just fun. So that's all I had today. Just wanted to share a few ideas for you guys and remind you that sometimes there's fun things where you're not looking. So make sure you keep your eyes open when you're flipping through magazines, when you're going through junk mail, and use those painted papers and the gift wraps, even the ones you've used that have folds and bends in them. Use that color and transform it into something else and really have fun creating. And if you're not feeling like creating, if you'll do little things like this, you'll find that it's sparking ideas. So just playing with the things will help you to start thinking creatively again. So I hope you'll do that, and I hope you will enjoy using your scraps, and we will talk to you again soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.